Rex Heuermann and the James Burke connection. That I think is going to be a book someday because there's so many questions about why was the Long Island serial killer investigation not really investigated for about 10 years while James Burke was in power. And now we have so much evidence pointing to one man that also ran a lot of the same circles allegedly as James Burke. Rex Heuermann, of course, accused of being the Long Island serial killer. He's innocent until proven guilty. Joining me to discuss, Eric Faddis, defense attorney, former prosecutor. This is a weird connection. It still is, and questions still being asked. We keep hearing more and more allegations from individuals that claim that they saw James Burke and Rex Heuermann at similar gatherings, in air quotes, in the late '90s into the early 2000s, including at times when James Burke was still the chief of police before all the charges went down. This is a long time ago, and we're going on eyewitness testimony from people who were sex workers. Um, is there ever going to be something here where we can more uh, basically batten the hatches down and say, yeah, there is a connection here, and I'm wondering where that leads, and if that also leads to why Rex was able to allegedly go on these sprees for so long.
Tony, we have witnesses who presumably would testify under oath. So certainly that's evidence that that's a solid connection. But people like James Burke, police officers, they kind of know how to cover their tracks. They kind of know how to not be revealed and found out in some of their nefarious activities. And so I wouldn't be surprised if James Burke, kind of took measures to try and make sure that no one would find out what he was allegedly getting into, allegedly with Rex Heuermann.
If you were to be looking into this to investigate this, for a client, what are some of the areas you'd be looking at? What sort of discovery would you want to be examining to try and dig some of this up, dig some of these things that may have been swept under the rug all those years ago?
Tony, what I would do is exactly what Rex Heuermann's attorneys have requested. So they've requested James Burke's FBI file. And I guess presumably there is a file, or at least the defense attorneys think there is. I'd be probing my own client for, details about what that connection looked like, if there was sort of an avenue to show other people's involvement that could sort of deflect responsibility from Rex Heuermann. But I'd be interested to see if his attorneys get those FBI files, what they say.
There's obviously a lot of it's hearsay. It's she said, and he doesn't really said anything. But to get in there and try to take a look at any connection here, that we're talking a time before a lot of digital footprints on a lot of this. Where today that's lovely. We can Google things. We can or look at Google histories. We can look at text messages between the two. We're talking a time period where that really wasn't that common. That really didn't exist, and certainly the records probably do not exist anymore as well. I would imagine that helps James Burke stay out of some of the potential hot water that he could be in. Are all those things just kind of lost to time? I mean, other than people saying, "I saw this person here," we certainly know what he was into. It wouldn't be shocking if those allegations are in fact true.
A lot of that evidence is probably gone. Like I said, it's been decades, years, if not decades. A lot of that evidence has eroded, but there's still forensic investigation that can be ongoing. They seized a lot of items and materials from Rex Heuermann's house during searches, and so they need to ensure that they're testing those not only for Rex Heuermann's DNA and the alleged victim's DNA, but also James Burke's DNA. They need to look for fingerprints. They need to look for hair follicles and just other perhaps objective, more material types of evidence that may not have been lost with records being purged and things like that.
One of the allegations is that in the duffel bag that was stolen from James Burke, and this is the individual Christopher Loeb that was beaten by him, and then obviously James Burke got in a lot of trouble for that. Was allegedly a snuff film, and obviously they've collected a lot of things from Heuermann's house as well. I'm been kind of curious about that because I mean, a film like that. It's not something you're going to go buy on the local porn shop on the side of the highway. If it's a legit snuff type film where people are being violated in horrible ways and violence is taking place. If this does exist, what if they both have the same film? What if they both have? I mean, that would be an interesting connection there. If it's in the archives of Heuerman and it was in the archives of Burke, would that prove a connection at all, or is that just kind of show maybe just kind of the same circles that some of these people are running around in?
It's surely an ominous theory, and like you've alluded, there's a pretty small subset of the population who has any interest in this, horrible content. One of those is the serial killer Rex Heuermann, who allegedly violated and killed a lot of sex workers. And so, is there a connection in terms of prurient interests between James Burke and Rex Heuermann? They were at the same parties, and there's allegations that there were drugs and sex at these parties. Those allegations have not been confirmed yet, but we're seeing sort of a convergence of interests, a convergence of proximity between James Burke and Rex Heuermann.
Getting closer and closer. At first, it was just kind of a question, and now it's like, I don't know, more people coming forward. Do you see that as being a difficult thing to find? Obviously, we have at least one who's made these allegations. If this is something someone was involved in years ago as a sex worker, maybe your life, maybe you're dead, maybe you put your life into a different path now, and don't necessarily want to go back down that road. Is it going to be difficult if they ever do try to investigate this deeper to get individuals like that to talk and to testify and to recognize the former life that they might have led?
We can all think of reasons why these people may not want to come forward, that may make it less likely that they would come forward. Maybe these are dark times in their past and they
Hmm.
don't want to revisit that. They
Yeah.
don't want to relive that trauma. They don't want to be known publicly for what was maybe one of the worst moments of their life. And so I think that's going to be a hurdle for law enforcement to try to identify evidence and witnesses from the past to try to bridge this gap.
Hey, thanks for checking out the video. Be sure to follow us wherever you download podcasts, and especially Apple Podcasts, where you can get advanced episode and premium content on our premium channel right there. Also, be sure to follow us on social media so you don't miss any breaking updates on the stories that matter to you most. We're on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook. Just search Hidden Killers Podcast with Tony Brueski, and you'll find us right there. Again, thanks for watching.